Hi there, and welcome back to the Little Western Model Railway YouTube channel. I'm James. If you're new here, thank you very much for checking out this video. I hope you find a reason to stay. And if you're a returning viewer, it's lovely to see you again, and I hope you enjoy as well. So today we're going to be taking another look at the HMDCC or HM7000 application for Android, not for iPhone. The differences are minimal, in fact non-existent. There you go. We're going to be having a look at the main locomotive page, so controlling your locomotive, the locomotive settings, and a quick look at managed devices today. Now, I did do a very brief overview of unboxing, installing, and the default sound profiles, and I will leave that in a little notification card above my head or in the description below. But without further ado, grab yourself a cup of tea, a brew, a dram, a beer, whatever, and let's roll the intro. So here we are down on the track. As you can see, I've already loaded up the locomotive. So here we have the very nice Bachmann Class 3F with the HM7000 installed in the tender. Not fully, but it's installed. This is a sneak preview of another video that is coming up very, very soon. So we're going to look at the basics of the locomotive control. We're going to take a look at the locomotive settings and a brief look at managing devices, but we'll get to those in a few moments. So, standard locomotive control, you can use your plus or minus buttons to start and stop the locomotive. You can change the direction with the arrows, and depending on your acceleration or deceleration rate, it will slow down. You can use the brake function. If you hold it, it will stop. If you let go, it will start again. And you can press stop. Pretty basic stuff. You can use the slider if you like, and it will adjust accordingly. All basic stuff. Further down, we have the function control. There are 3 pages of 10 functions each. Pretty self-explanatory. They are mostly push buttons, but we'll get into those settings later on. There is also this automated function control, which I really like, which allows the whistle, drain cocks, and blowout to start when you move or stop a locomotive, which is a great function. We'll let it pick up some speed. So if you push the brake, it sounds the brake. Whistles on re-release. Plays the blowdown, and if you're going over speed step 20 and reduce it to 0, it will also play the brake sound as well. So we're going to turn that off now, just not to drown ourselves out. So yeah, lots of playability there. I really like these and the sound profiles. And if you're interested in hearing this sound profile, it will be one of the next ones up on the channel in the coming days. There is this resume operational control button, which I need to do a little bit more reading into. I only have the 2 decoders, and as far as I'm aware, you can only use one decoder on one device. You can't have multiple devices linked to multiple decoders, so you can't control multiple locomotives. So I'm not sure exactly what this is referring to. Maybe it's a placeholder for future possibilities. I don't know. If you already know, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to have a chat with you about that. So moving on, we're going to go to the locomotive settings. So there are 3 tabs here, 2 of which I will cover in this video. There is the data tab, which is the main page. There is the function tab. The advanced CV editor, which I think is the really lovely thing about this Bluetooth control, I will go over in a completely separate video. So the first section is vehicle image. So you can see I do not have an image set. Tap the edit button and you have a choice of taking or importing a photo or removing a current image. I'm not going to take a photo. I have one prepared already, and I'm going to put that here and crop it. And there you have it. I have my vehicle image. Not the best. You have to take it from a pretty far back angle to be able to have it fit in there. It doesn't actually match the crop. Maybe a bit of a niggle on the Hornby side. There is the decoder setup that you can go to manage, and it will give you some information about the devices. Next, there's the basic information. So you have your Loco address from 1 to 9,999, and you have the name. So I put this as LMS3F. There is a methodology of having this Loco address set properly, and I will go through that fully in the advanced CV editor video coming up. Next, you have your Bluetooth and DCC control. Note that if you tap and change to DCC mode, it will do so in the CVs, and on the locomotive control section, it will show DCC mode enabled, edit locomotive setup if you want to be able to control it through the app. So we're going to put that back to Bluetooth. Once you've done that, make sure to cycle or stop-start the layout, and you'll be good to go. Next is vehicle state. So I assume this is a functionality that if you don't want something to be stolen, or you're worried about somebody else using it when you don't want them to, you can set your vehicle to inactive. And what this will do is when you go to the control section, you will no longer see that locomotive. What you have to do then is go to the settings page, go to engine shed, and go to the inactive locomotive there, and then you can reset it as inactive. Make sure again to stop and start the layout, and you will be able to, that's the wrong locomotive, and you will be able to control. Pretty simple stuff. Next, locomotive data. So here we have the acceleration and deceleration rate. So I currently have this set to 60 and 20 is what I had this originally set to. 59, 19, fine. So I'm going to set this to 0 and show you how that looks. So we're going to go to speed step. Let's go straight to speed step 30, 40. There you go. Speed step 40. And if I turn that off, it stops rather quickly. Accelerates rather quickly, depending on the motor, of course. And we're going to stop. Now, if we go back to here, now the more you put here, the longer it will take to accelerate. Look how long you can set this. So we were already there by this point. So if you want to go into expert, you can definitely set it to be ridiculously high. But I prefer to have, a slight. I want to be able to reach the speeds I want to set up pretty darn quickly. So we're going to go ahead and decelerate, and on 0 you can see it's stopping almost instantly. If we do it the other way around and we have it accelerate quickly, goes pretty quickly, and we'll decelerate. You can see you can completely independently set them, which is great. So we're going to set that back to... Sorry everyone, post-production James here. So I've had to reshoot this bit because the mic didn't really pick it up. So if my voice sounds different, it's because I'm not using a microphone anymore. So, looking at the global map volume. So this setting is pretty interesting. I've got it currently set to 9, and if I turn on the sound, you can sounds reasonable for a single locomotive on a small layout, and that's what I have it set up for. You know, while I have things running here, I have it down to about 9 or 10. For my friend's layout, it will be set to 20, 21. And you can see how easy it is just to change the volume. Now, I've noticed that when you change the volume up to, say, 60 or up to 70, we'll do it to 69, it starts to drown out. Apologies for the sound warning. And you can go to 70, and you hear that tiny break, but it doesn't change much. And any higher than that, the volume doesn't really change. So 70 really is your maximum, at least with this speaker. But it's a bit loud, so we're going to put it back down to about 20. And I think that's pretty fair. Right, let's move on. Back to the original cut. Next is the function mapping, and I'll go into this later on during the function control. But essentially, it's dependent on how you want to set up your functions. And then you have access to browse profiles, where you can search for your sound profiles or the locomotive profiles, and any of the settings that Hornby have already set up for those locomotives. Then, of course, you can delete if you want to. Next, we're going to look at the functions. So here you have the same 3 pages of 10, or in this case, 29 functions, and you can go in and you can make any changes. So you can set the name. So we're going to set daylights here anyway. You can change it to you can change the function number or what order it will show. You can set it to whether it's a switch, so if it's latching, if it's a simple push button, if you want to set a timer. So for example, if you want to have drain cocks set to only last a few seconds instead of having to push and hold it or something like that, or if you want to set the coach doors to last for a few seconds rather than having to constantly tap it, it's a good way to do that. And then there's the elite function, which I'm assuming is some specific controls for Hornby Elite Controller. And since I don't have one, I can't check that. So again, if you know what this is, I'm going to read about it later anyway, but if you know what this is, let me know in the comments below. Then you can change the icon, and you have any icon from any of the profiles set there. And then, of course, you can test the function. So look, there you go. This now has a cow set for daylights. But you can test. So nothing wrong with that. And you can clear the function setup if you like, and it will completely delete that function. And you can do that for any of the ones per locomotive. So that's the basics of that. Now we're going to have a look at the manage device section here, if it lets me tap it. So you can see some basic information, the device health check, which lets you know the status of the decoder itself. You can check the profiles again if you need to. Check the device version, whether or not you need to update it, the assigned vehicles, and you can unlink and delete the device if needs be. So there you have it, a very brief overview of the control and locomotive settings and device settings on the HM7000 application. I will be going into depth into each of the other sections, including the layout editor, which I think is a neat feature, but has a little bit of control issues. We'll have a look at linking new devices, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth, of course, into the function mapping and CV editing in one of the latest videos, and of course the general settings page. So if you found this video informative, let me know in the comments below. Give me any feedback that you have. If you've liked the video, please go ahead and give it a like. If you want to stick around for more HM7000 content or any of the other bits that I have coming up on the layout, I do have some updates coming soon, I promise. Then also, yeah, please hit the subscribe button. And if you've got nothing better to do on a Thursday evening at 8 p.m, can I please recommend you go and check out the Shunting Yard live streams here on YouTube, and I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. Myself, Hilton from Proper Chuffed, Rob from the Kiln Line, and Dan from Pedantic Mongrel Model Railways get together on a weekly basis just to talk trains, just to talk model trains and anything that's been going on in the previous weeks. So come and have a laugh. We enjoy it, and we hope you will too. Anyway, I'm rabbiting on for too long. YouTube is now going to suggest 2 videos for you. I will leave cards throughout the video, so go back to certain timestamps and have a look at those. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.